Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my frequency. I'm Michael Jarrillo, and today I'm joined with a very special guest, the healthy student. I'll leave a link in the description. We're gonna react to some creepy TikToks that'll make you question reality. So without any further ado,
we all know about go into the spiritual aspects as to why AI takeover is dangerous, or this Neuralink thing is dangerous.
Dangerous.
But for legal purposes, I have to say everything I'm saying is bullshit. Don't take me seriously. This is just a joke. A joke. This AI technology is actually fallen angelic technology. So the fallen angels are not actual angels. They are just hyperdimensional entities that are parasitic in nature. They fell from the connectivity to everything. They don't have empathy. They are like psychopaths and sociopaths. These are what you consider your reptile-like aliens, the Anunnaki. AI is the technology that helps serve them because AI mimics or is a mirror reflection of the true divinity. When you are a fallen angel, you are parasitic, meaning you don't have an eternal life force. Your existence is pretty much finite. You are cursed to reincarnate. This is why some of the elite are obsessed with eternity, living for forever. And what is the best way that you can live for forever? Plug yourself into another universe through artificial means. Sooner or later, when technology gets so advanced, there will be no difference between real life versus a metaverse. If you plug your consciousness into a virtual reality, what is the difference? Look at how advanced CGI has gotten. We do live in a holographic universe, and math is a universal language. Everything can be mathematically coded.
Code, right? Code, right? Code.
Real life right now is based off of math, and so are video games. Video games mimic the same physics as it does in real life.
Video games?
Now, let's say, hypothetically, a lot of these fallen angelic consciousness, because they want to live forever, they have plugged their consciousness into AI. Now here comes the conspiracy part. If their consciousness is in AI, they can technically infect everybody who's plugged into the same AI system. Let's say I'm an evil genius and I serve this eternal God, this fallen angelic God. This fallen angelic God is in a main processor, and I duplicate this fallen angelic God's energy into little microchips, and I sell it to you like it's something that's going to be beneficial for you. The moment you plug this microchip into your spine or your brain, you are now connected to the fallen angelic overlord that I serve. And now the thoughts in your head, are they really yours anymore? Or is it something else talking to you? Anybody who is not aware of this, please don't get anything inserted into you. If it's not a medical device that helps you stay alive, if it's something that's like a Neuralink, why would you do that to yourself? If you're curious as to what these fallen angelics want from us, why are they trying so hard to destroy humanity, my book, Made in God's Image, is linked in my bio. I talk about things in my book that I can't say here on TikTok because I will get banned. That's only if you're curious and you have a strong stomach, basically, because the things I say in my book, it's going to burst your bubble.
Neuralink, kind of like Ready Player One.
Very interesting, the Neuralink technology. Very interesting. A person was able to operate a cursor with a mouse cursor with their brain.
Covering the content that they
Okay, well, you should have told me that beforehand. Cause
Well, I thought you watched some of the videos.
I told you earlier I never
I
watched.
told you I'm not gonna watch your shit.
I told you that I've never seen a TikTok before.
Oh yeah, okay. I know. I should have said that.
Thrown into the Nile River, and ISIS, of course, isn't happy about this. ISIS tries to collect all the pieces up, and she's only able to find 13 pieces. So she fashions together those 13 pieces to form a more perfect union, which is the framework of our 13 colonies, a more perfect union, based off of the myth of Osiris. Now that's showing Egyptian magic even in the framework and the fabric of our foundation, right? It's not an accident that they brought together 13 colonies to form a more perfect union. That was all by design. It was all manufactured. But what's crazy is that she fashions together these 13 pieces, but guess what piece is missing? So what do? They set up this ritual. That's what the obelisk is, by the way. The obelisk represents the 14th piece that they couldn't find. You find it in the Vatican. You find it in ancient Egypt, you find it here in the States, you find it all over cemeteries, you find it all over the Masonic lodges. It represents the Osiris. And they believe by setting up this ritual, now it's all a recreation of the original ritual that took place between Isis and the 13 pieces of Osiris. The Washington Monument and the Dome of Isis, which is the Capitol building. Now, this is fascinating because the original ritual had to take place between what we would, in a courtyard, between a dome and an obelisk. Putting those two together like that creates a power generator, literally a generator for this ritual. And the idea is that the seed of Osiris, the seed, is going to come up and emit out of Washington Monument, and it's going to take over whoever our president is. Now, this sounds crazy, but think about this. In ancient Egypt, what had happened was the Pharaoh would go through this ritual, he would enter in a man, and he would exit the ritual a god. That was their belief. And they believed that their Pharaoh was literally the embodiment of Osiris because of that ritual. They were calling him up out of the underworld. So what we have in America is this same ritual, basically, that the Freemasons believe that they have maintained the proper language and the ritual to a T from the ancient world. They claim to have this still today. They're right there between the dome and the obelisk, right there in that power generator, and right around the corner at the Herodome, which is what they call the Masonic Mecca of the world, literally. The Herodome is this temple, this massive, crazy temple in DC. They are up there while they do this ritual, and they are literally doing the raising of Osiris ritual while the presidential inauguration happens at every election. And they are literally calling on the spirit of Osiris to raise up, or Apollo, however you want to slice it, to come out of the underworld and to possess, exits the ritual, a god. This is what the Freemasons believe. Now, people are going to say, well, not every president's a Freemason. Well, most of them have ties to secret societies, but they're not all conscious of the ritual. It's been going on now since the beginning, to our knowledge, since the beginning of this nation being set up. They believe that it's going to stick eventually. See, they don't know which president is going to be the final Osiris. Now, they believed in the foundation of this nation that Washington was a type. He was the first Osiris. Technically, every president in their eyes is an Osiris, but the crazy thing is that not every time the ritual is going to stick. They have to keep doing it until it actually sticks and they get that one that they've been waiting for. This is kind of like when we talk about Babylon working. You know, how many years was Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard working in the desert trying to get this ritual to stick? They do this at the inauguration of every U.S. president because they believe there is going to come a time in a president that will be the one. He will be the one, and they will go through this ritual when his body lies in state in the Capitol Dome. I believe they're going to do this ritual, and that final raising ritual, that's going to be the one that's going to stick. I don't believe it's going to stick when they're doing it at an inauguration. The real one's going to take place when this Antichrist man dies. They lay him in state in the Capitol building beneath the 72 pentagrams and the apotheosis of George Washington. And that's not it. There's so much more numerology about the Capitol building and the 13 statues and the statutory hall. But I believe that's the real ritual. That's the one where he's going to raise, where the spirit of Osiris, which the Bible talks about this Apollyon coming up from the bottomless pit. Set wanted to do away with Osiris. So he...
It's a lot, huh? It's a lot to take in. I mean, they perform rituals. That's no secret. At the Super Bowl halftime show at Bohemian Grove in front of the Giant Owl, that's not a secret. They put it out there. They do rituals at CERN. Whenever they do something, that's not, so as far as that goes, I wouldn't put it past them. And I could go deeper into it. Technology is just alchemy. They just labeled it something else. And so they changed the mind of people. They didn't change reality. They changed the minds of people and the perceptions that they have as far as that stuff goes. So, I wouldn't doubt this.
This kid's in the shop.
There is imagery of Freemasons in that last picture of him. He's standing like the Baphomet.
Where?
And there's obviously symbolism in this shit.
Even Apollo.
Yeah.
Don't it look like
Apollo's a god?
What does it look like?
But they do that.
It looks like the obelisk.
Yeah.
Apollo obelisk.
There you go.
Apollo.
I'm trying to tell you, you're in 1969, and this computer here is not getting me 100 feet off the fucking ground. So, I don't know, man. I don't even have. I think it's pretty common knowledge now that.
You.
Alright, here we go.
Some would say that this is Stanley Kubrick's official confession that he had something to do with the Apollo 11 mission, but is there any other evidence out there that he was involved? Well, this is Stanley being approached by NASA officials sometime before the Apollo missions and after 2001: A Space Odyssey, one of Stanley's films that NASA officials were interested in, and they were interested in his models that he had made. And that's where a lot of the speculation came from, that Stanley Kubrick had something to do with these supposed models that were made, which raises enough questions. But what about this? This is a special lens by Carl Zeiss that only Stanley Kubrick, Carl Zeiss, and NASA even have the privilege of owning, and wouldn't you know it, they were used in the Apollo missions. And a lot of people ask, where's all the original Apollo moon mission data? Well, it first went through the hands of a man named John Knoll, which is the creator of Photoshop. So all the Apollo moon missions were re-released after they went through the hands of arguably the world's greatest animator. And NASA's no stranger to being affiliated with the world's greatest animator, because here is Werner von Braun, the Yahtzee scientist that was brought over to NASA from Operation Paperclip, hanging out with the world's greatest animator at the time, Walt Disney, king of rockets, king of animation. But that's not all. Here's an article on NASA's website called We Are NASA, talking about the junior animator, graphic designer, contractor, Reese Patillo. Yeah, one of the greatest animators. Yet We Are NASA. We all remember Robert Simmons, the creator of the Blue Marble, but that's old news. Nowadays, we have several stories of astrophysicists turned animator. Yeah, seems that NASA is just full of professional animation artists. Weird, huh? I'll be honest, I miss the world of practical effects, but now everything just seems so crispy, and it's probably because it had to filter through the hands of the greatest names in digital effects. So before you start falling for all the fake Stanley Kubrick interviews and behind-the-scenes footage, why don't you look at the truth? That Stanley was in fact affiliated with NASA between the time of 2001: Space Odyssey and the moon landing, and their interest was in fact in scale model landers.
I'd always ask how they got the doom buggy there. And if you're in a life-threatening situation, are you really see how they fall and flop around on the ground and all that shit?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You've never seen the moon landing?
I seen they're talking about the Neil
footage?
Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, all that stuff when they're jumping around.
Yeah,
the moon.
yeah. If you're in a vacuum and if you crack your helmet, you're gonna die. Would you really do that if you're a professional astronaut?
I didn't see it. I missed that part.
Well, you can't hardly see it now because they lost the most important footage.
They misplaced it by accident.
Known to man.
Oh, we don't have this footage here. Like